kind of person can benefit from mindfulness?
I'd have to say, in the most generic sense, everyone, because everybody is human and everybody has some level of distress. Everybody has the capacity to be present. In fact, the capacity for presence is the deepest capacity of a human being. It's the being part of the human being. We don't often look at we talk about humans, we forget the being part. And what does being mean? I'm talking about being here as opposed to doing.
Yeah.
So being is actually not only descriptive of people, but also descriptive of a mental and neurological state. The capacity for the being mode, as it's referred to neurobiologically, and the doing mode. And so anybody who has that capacity is going to benefit from mindfulness. And given that we're all human beings, we can all access the being mode. And a simple way of looking at it is, I can be doing something, but my mind can be somewhere else.
Yeah.
I can be doing something.
I think so many of us can relate to that.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, they call it multitasking. And it's supposedly a very high skill.
Yes.
However, it's not, the brain doesn't like it that much. It fractures our attention. It's like having too many windows open on your PC, and then there are all those blue circles going around, and things are not functioning as well. And same is true of our attention, of our awareness. So if we can orientate, if we can bring to bear this capacity for the being mode, then it enriches what we're doing. So everybody could benefit. But we also need to ask the question, particularly in this country, is that so? The question I ask is, can you teach a hungry person to meditate? And I don't know the answer to that question. Is it appropriate in terms of levels of need?
That would be interesting.
Very and important, and that's why it's very, very important to come in with an honest disposition. You know, we don't know the answer to that, and we shouldn't make an assumption that everybody will benefit. I think it's important conceptually and theoretically to say that everybody has a mind, everybody has a capacity for presence, everybody has a breath, everybody's alive, and as such could be mindful, and then as such could benefit from mindfulness. But there may be contexts and situations where we'd have to be cautious of making an assumption that it will work, it will be of benefit. I think a lot hinges on how one communicates this, how you teach it, how it's languaged in such a way as to be compelling, engaging, and congruent with the worldview of the people you're teaching.
Now, what countries are predominantly practicing mindfulness at the moment?
Well, the center of gravity, if you will, the main centers are in Europe and North America.
Okay.
And when we're talking here about mindfulness, in the context of this conversation, we'd call it contemporary mindfulness or secular mindfulness. But of course, people have been practicing mindfulness for millennia in the East, mainly through the people practicing Buddhist lineage, but also in other wisdom and religious traditions. So I'd like to just distinguish up to a point that we're talking about there's the lineage, if you will, of spiritual and religious traditions, and then the secular mindfulness or contemporary mindfulness, which arises out of those traditions, but is now being offered in Western, secular, postmodern, 21st century lifestyles, mainly Europe and North America, and Scandinavia, of course.
Oh, right. They're ahead of the curve.
Yeah, well, they're probably ahead of everybody else.